All right, guys, welcome back to the garage, or welcome to the garage. It's Tush coming at you from the Tush Mahal. We've got our 2002 Porsche Boxster 986 here in the garage today, and we're about to start a little project, and that is to remove the front bumper cover. So you might be asking, why do you want to remove that front bumper cover? Well, there's a little bit of a weakness on the Boxster 986, and that is these big grill vents up front here. And it's not so much the grill vents, it's the fact that there are some radiators and condensers in each corner of the bumper. And what happens is leaves and debris, or road debris, get sucked in through the vents and end up getting packed into the corners in front of the radiator and between the condenser. So what we want to do today is we want to remove the bumper cover to be able to get to the ductwork around the radiator and condenser and clean out those leaves. I've actually shone a flashlight in there and I can actually see some debris tucked back in the bumper. You may want to decide if you want to do this project or not by taking a quick look in there first. I want to do it because it's never been done under my ownership. I've only had the car for less than a month. So I want to get this done and get back to a baseline on the car so I know that it's been done. At the same time, you can see that the paint has been failing here on the grills. So we'll probably take the opportunity to pop those out and give them a quick paint to refresh the look of those as well. So let's get to it. Bumper removal, or bumper cover removal, on a Boxster 986. All right, the first thing I'm going to say is that I'm a bit of an amateur as far as when it comes to working on the Boxster, having owned it less than a month. But there are some great resources online. There's lots of great YouTube videos out there already. But I've also got a couple of books here that I'd highly recommend from me basically perusing them for the last couple of weeks. This is a great book, this 101 Projects book for your Porsche Boxster, written by Wayne Dempsey. And the other book that I have is a reference, and a lot of you Triumph guys that follow my channel will know these books. This is a Bentley manual, invaluable for working on my Triumph, so it's going to be invaluable for working on the Porsche Boxsters as well. So there's a couple of manuals that I'm going to be referencing along the way, along again with some great YouTube videos that are out there and some great. All right, first thing we need to do is to get to these 4 fasteners here. 1, 2, missing one already. And this one, just a flat bladed screwdriver. We'll twist these out, remove this little trim piece, and get to the bottom of that. All right, as this car is 23 years old now, coming up to 24 years old, I'm sure we're going to run into more instances of fasteners that are missing or inappropriate fasteners being utilized on this car. And we'll show you those along the way. I know for a fact that when we picked this car up, the inner wheel tubs were missing a couple of push pin fasteners. And as a road fix, we just use some zip ties in those areas to fix those. So we'll obviously clip those zip ties and use the appropriate fasteners along the way. Nothing wrong with zip ties, but if you got the appropriate things, we'll go ahead and do that. We may have to go back with some zip ties as well, because I think some of the fastener locations have actually broken off or are stripped out. Anyway, let's get to removing this top piece here. As mentioned, one of the fasteners is always already missing. Just a flat bladed screwdriver here to remove the rest. All right. Okay, and next are 2 Phillips screws here on either side, one here and one here, and we'll just go ahead and remove those as well. Put them aside for safekeeping. Okay. Next job is to pop out the side lights, side marker lights. Now these are spring loaded, and we just want to pop these out carefully. If I just pull on these, they should pop out like so. We've got an electrical connector here we're just going to release. We'll figure out how to do that. Let me just grab a screwdriver really quickly here. All right, no need to remove the connector. We can actually just twist and remove the bulb from the reflector. So simple twist until the notches line up and then pull. And that removes the reflector. All right, at the front here by that reflector, there are two Phillips screws. You can see the vertical one here at the back, and you can see the one here at the front horizontally, and we'll remove those two. And then as far as the wheel arch is concerned, I believe this button here also needs to be removed, as that's going to be capturing that fender or the bumper piece as well. And just to be difficult, on that vertical one here at the rear, they decided they wanted to do a T25 Torx. So one Phillips, one Torx on each side. And of course, the passenger side is a Phillips in that position. So like I'd mentioned, you're gonna get random or odd fasteners. I have no idea which is correct, whether it's a Phillips or a Torx head. Anyway, it actually had a fastener there, which I guess is a positive thing. We did remove this one push pin here, and that will allow you to sort of remove the, let me just grab a pry bar here, remove this inner wheel well and just get it out of the groove from behind your fender here, or your bumper cover. So just carefully, you can see how that's removed now from there. And there's the holder. I don't know if you can see it there where that pin snaps back into. Anyway, we remove that and just have the liner. Now, whether you need to remove that to remove the bumper cover, I'm not sure, but we've gone ahead and removed this one anyway. Anyway, let's do the same on the other side. There's one pin that definitely needs to be removed, and this is this one up here. So in relation to here, it actually goes through this little bracket here. So this car didn't have this one in this location, but you definitely would need to remove that had it actually been there. We'll check the passenger side, see if we need to remove that. So there is one more hidden screw, and that's why you need to basically pop this panel back. It's a vertical screw, and you can see the black fastener that it fastens into from the inside. You'll actually see the tip of the screw pointing up through this fastener. So this happens to be another Torx fastener. It could be a Phillips here. I'll check the other side. But anyway, you need to remove the liner to be able to get a screwdriver in there to release that area there. So it should be fairly free now, except for all the fasteners on the bottom underneath the nose of the car. All right, time to get under the car now, and we'll see what fastens at the bottom. There's supposed to be 5 or 6, I believe they're Torx, again, Torx 25 screws down there, but let's see what's holding the bumper on at the bottom. Like I said, I think there's gonna be a mixture of fasteners, zip ties, and pins, push pins, but let's see what we get when we get down there. I've got all the appropriate tools standing by. Okay, I had my Porsche certified technician stop by.
From England.
Yes. Based in England.
Because the Germans can't fix them.
Oh, anyway, we're about at the point where we're going to get the bumper off. I think we'll get Les to help me while he's here. So there are Torx screws on the bottom holding the bumper in. I only had 3 of the 5 locations fastened. I'll show you where those locations are once we get the bumper off. I'll flip it upside down and show you where the locations are. So we need to find a couple of other fasteners. Hopefully there's something there to attach the fasteners to. That's why I'm finding in certain areas where there should be pins, the actual fastener location was broken, the plastic's broken, so there's nothing to fasten to. Anyway, let's see if I can get this bumper off. All right, let's give this a shot. So let's grab it from back here.
So what are we doing? Ramming off the edge?
At the back here.
Okay, talk to me.
So just inside the wheel well.
Yeah.
Don't grab the plastic, but you can grab the bumper itself.
Yeah.
And we'll try to just
So
lift
what
it.
about this thing?
That should tuck in.
You're touching it. And it's already, and why have we got the license plate on?
It shouldn't be holding anything.
Okay.
So put your hand inside that flap. And maybe grab where the grill is.
Hang on, buddy. I don't want to crack nothing, do we? So we're out
Yeah.
here.
So let's kind of
Which way are we pushing? That way?
Yeah.
I'm out. You're caught over there by your light, the bottom. It's not heavy. Just so you know.
Let's put it back for a sec. All right. Let me see if there's something still attached, like a zip tie or something here. I think there might be a zip tie or something holding where it shouldn't be.
Sharp, maybe like
No, I've got plastic.
a spoon, like a soup spoon. Something with a smooth, put tape on. Yeah, that's perfect. Let's take that. Is there anything here stopping it?
Shouldn't be.
It does. It feels like it's being held up there.
Don't see any fasteners.
My sights. I'm holding it. See this? My side's loose. It's you over here
Right.
where the problem is.
Push it back in. Okay, that's good.
Want me to go underneath on your side?
Just slide it up. No, I don't see anything under there holding it. Those two screws are out. Just hold that in. There you go.
That's it. Hold on. Remember the bottom.
Yeah, just flip it up on its nose.
We're good. Hold on.
Flip it up.
So where was it jamming?
Just on the edge here. Okay. So bumper removed. All right, here's a better look at the bottom of the bumper. And as you can see, it's seen better days under here. No buffing that out. So obviously some either curbs or steep driveways this is encountered in its past life. So the fastener locations here, 3 here in the middle, and then you've got 1 here and 1 here. And then there's a few other things around here. I didn't have anything fastened over in this location. I don't know whether that's a push pin or I'm just missing a fastener. See, they've got this little guard here on the one side. On the other side, I seem to be missing that entirely. So I'm not sure where that went to. Anyway, there's a look at the fastener locations at the bottom of the bumper. And again, it's going to become pretty self-evident what you need to remove when you actually get under there and have a look yourself. So, okay, let's work on the ducting. Let's get the ducts removed so we can get to the radiators. All right, looks to be about at least 4 Torx fasteners. You got a couple here at the back, one on the top and the bottom. And I've got one located in here. I'm assuming there's also one up higher. Yep, right there, you can probably see that. And that might be it, but we might find another one towards this end. Let me get these 4 out and see what happens. So it looks like there's only one fastener location here, but there's one location up the top here, which is a little difficult to see. I don't know if you can see it up there, but we'll get to that one. And then there's the 2 at the rear that I showed you, and hopefully those will be the 4 fasteners we need to take out to get the ductwork off. All right, let's see if those 4 fasteners removed will do it. All right, definitely glad I got in there. There's a fair amount of debris, sand, leaves. Anyway, we'll get in here and clean the rest of this out, and we'll get between them. So it's some more Torx screws, basically to release the front radiator from the condenser, or vice versa, condenser radiator. I believe this is for the air conditioning, so that would be the condenser in the front. So let's go ahead and clean out between these and see how much more debris we get. All right, a couple of hex-headed fasteners to undo here on the radiator. And then there's a little clip that this little tab just pushes into. So you can carefully just move the radiator towards the driver's side and allow it to split a little bit. And as you can see, quite a bit of debris in here. Again, always glad to go to the effort to fix this when you see things like this. So we're going to take a probably just a soft broom, and we're going to remove all this debris out of there before we fasten it back together. So definitely glad we're in here. So you can definitely see how this could rot out these radiators and condensers down here if that's sort of left there to rot them away. Other than that, they look to be in pretty good condition. Again, just be careful with the jointing over here. Don't disturb it. Don't try to pry it away too much. You don't want to disturb this area over here and break something off. So we'll be careful. All right, the passenger side is all back together. Ductwork and radiator and condenser all screwed back in. Got all the plastics and rubbers cleaned up, so that's looking much better. So time to move on to the driver's side, and we'll get this looking a little bit better and cleaned out as well. All right, let's see what treasures await on this side. Or not. Maybe there's an extra screw on this side. Let me have a look. Yeah, looks like an extra screw on this side. We'll be back. All right, well worth doing on the driver's side as well. Who knows, these may have never been done before in the history of the car. Anyway, condenser here on the bottom is a little damaged. You can see it's starting to separate here on the bottom a little bit, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Otherwise, it's cleaned out and ready to go with the ductwork. So we'll clean that up a little bit with some soap and water and get that reinstalled. And then we'll go back and have a look at that bumper cover, and we'll start on figuring out how to pop out those grill vents in order to get those painted and looking better. Right, while we're here, and before we put the bumper back on, we want to actually clean up this bumper bar. So I've just got some soap and water. We're just going to get rid of all this grit and who knows what else on top of this and clean this back up to looking like new. So we can proceed to the next step, which is taking those grills out. And we'll obviously clean up the bumper cover as well with just some soap and water and a little scrubby sponge. Nothing too aggressive. We're going to use this Dawn Platinum spray on it initially, and then we've got some water and just a soft sponge standing by. Hopefully that'll get most of the bug residue off. And then of course we'll have to apply some wax or some sealer and wax after that, because we're going to be stripping all of the anything that's on there currently as far as wax is concerned will be removed by the Dawn. So we'll have to do a finish up step with that re-waxing of that when we get it back on the car. All right, we're on the inside of the bumper now, and we're going after these grills. I've managed to just pop this one out. So you can see there are a number of tabs here that you just need to prise with carefully prise with a screwdriver. So there's a tab here, 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 and here. And basically just carefully prise them out, and the actual grill itself will, or the vent itself will pop out. So there you go. There's one side. Just again, be careful. You can see the tabs here. So that's what you're going after. All right. Not too bad. All right, now that the vents are out, we'll give them a good wash with soap and water, and then we'll give them a quick scuff with a red Scotch-Brite, and we'll get them ready to get a fresh coat of paint. All right, we gave them a quick wash with soap and water. Now we've got the red Scotch-Brite out, and we're just scuffing up the areas a little bit just to make sure that the paint adheres. And then what we'll do after that is we'll get some panel prep here, which we have standing by. Spray it down with panel prep, let that dry, maybe blow it off with the air gun. let it dry, and then we'll hit it with some, I think some semi-gloss black will probably be good for that area. I think I have some in the cabinet. We'll have to take a quick look, but that's what the plan is. All right, good morning. It's the next day, and as you can see, we've got the bumper cover back on the car. We've just fitted it up loosely here with a couple of fasteners up top to hold it. The girls came out well. I think you'll agree they look much better than they did. Probably need a few touch-ups here and there. I was a little aggressive with them getting those clips done up last night. I should have let them probably dry a little longer than I did, but they are in there and looking 100% better than they did. So what we're going to do this morning is we're going to get under the car and we're going to screw the fasteners in the bottom of the bumper cover. Then we'll come back and we'll do the reverse process as what we did yesterday to get all the fasteners put in by the side lights here and into the wheel well plastic covers. So that's what we're up to this morning. All right, quick video from under the nose of the car, and I'm realizing now that I'm actually missing a little bit more than that bumper corner piece here that we have on the driver's side, but we were missing on the passenger side. So apparently we're missing a little bit more than that. So I don't know if you can tell over here, we're missing quite a bit of structure over here, including that bumper corner piece. And we're missing this covering or this closing piece here. So obviously the car has probably hit something at some point, a curb or a low driveway. And you can see a bit of scraping here. So I think we've been, broken off this piece of plastic here. It's a little raggedy also on the inner fender wheel arch as well. So yeah, we're typically missing a whole closing piece of plastic that should look like this side, but obviously it's missing from this side. Anyway, we're putting these fasteners in. Here's the first one here in the middle, one here, and we'll work our way across. There's one fastener here and one fastener here. Hopefully there's something to hold on to. We'll find out shortly. All right, guys, we have our push pins reinstalled here on the passenger side. So 1, 2, 3 installed. And we've got our fasteners up through the inside of the fender as we removed before, and the fastener at the front of the fender. So we'll go ahead now and move over to the driver's side and do the same thing. As far as the push pins are concerned, I've just got a generic kit here. This just happens to be from Titan. So just finding basically what will work here. Here's an original pin. So I've got one for reference, and we'll replace it with something that works. These seem to work pretty well. The longer ones here with the pointed ends seem to work pretty well on the ones in the wheel well. Not particularly for the one behind the side light, but we've got a different, we'll probably use the original fastener for that one and use these longer pointed ones for the ones in the actual wheel well. All right, the bumper is now reattached at all points with some judicious use of zip ties down in the corners where it's a little iffy in the corners of these bumpers, but it is what it is. So like I said, it's seen some curb damage in its past life, but it's on there securely. I screwed it where I could and zip tied where I couldn't. So all is good. Didn't resort to any duct tape. So zip ties and screws it is. It's secured. We need to put this cover piece back on here, and we need to pop our marker lights in. And then I think what we're going to do after that is we're going to give this a quick buff at the front, and we'll call this project done. So let me get this trim piece put back in. Again, it's just those 4 fasteners across the top, 3 if you're like me and you're missing one. But we'll clean that piece up, put that back in, put our side lights in, and then we'll come back before we start buffing. All right, on to the final part of the project, and that's just to buff and wax this bumper after we've cleaned it with that Dawn detergent. We want to get back to protecting it. There's a few scuffs on here that we can get out, a few scuffs and scratches that we can get out before we put the coat of wax on it. So here's my process. We start with a compound, the ultra cut compound, then we do a finishing polish, do a show car glaze, and then we finish with just a regular Carnauba wax. And we're using our little Griot's polisher here. We've got a bunch of different pads. The red ones for compounding, and then we get into yellow for the ultra finishing polish. Then we get into black for the sealer, and usually we just wax by hand. All right, let's get into it. Let me see if I can give you a little bit of a demonstration on how well we can get this to come up. Again, it's pretty scratched. and pretty faded, as you can probably see here. Again, this is not going to come up perfectly good. It's going to come up better than it is. So might be able to tell a bit of difference over there where we've done some work already, but maybe here you'll be able to see a bit more correction work once we're done the proper steps. All right, here's where we're at after the 4-step process. It's definitely better. It's definitely not perfect. There's a lot of pretty deep scratches, obviously some paint chips here and there. Being the nose of the bumper, it's going to take the brunt of the abuse, but definitely better than it was, let's say. But again, still quite a few heavy scratches that we won't be able to get out. And that's okay. The car doesn't have to be perfect. So that looks much better. We're left with the last corner over here on the driver's side, so we'll do that now. And then we'll call the bumper project done. All right, guys, I think it's time to put an end to this video. I did finish up the bumper cover, and again, not perfect, but much better than it was. Of course, being a black car, it's going to show every imperfection there is known to man. But yeah, so a few stone chips here and there to contend with, a few scratches, but overall, much better. Looks much better with those grills newly painted. As you can see, I'm definitely glad I went in there and cleaned all that debris from the radiators and the condensers. The last thing I need to do is put the spare back in the front trunk. We did vacuum up in there a little bit, so we'll pack that spare away and we'll call this project done and get ready to move on to the next one. All right, thanks for watching, thanks for commenting, thanks for subscribing, and we'll see you on the next video.